section of increase via reduction with this quote: eliminate the unnecessary so that the necessary may speak. So now that we have a better understanding of how time management can actually give us more freedom to have a healthy lifestyle, study a ridiculous amount of time, and still have time to do what we want, let's talk about how we could approach the things in our life that fill these 3 8-hour blocks, and how we could best remove things in order to increase our utilization of these time windows. So the foundation of this concept, which is increase via reduction, is based on a well-known law of physics called the law of thermodynamics. Now, yes, I know it's a mentorship lecture and it's not physics class, but just follow along with me for a little bit. So the law of thermodynamics states that energy cannot be created or destroyed. It could only be transferred from one form to another. So similar to the way in which time and money are scarce resources that we have to allocate wisely, our energy acts the same way. We have a limited amount of energy that we could allocate towards our goals. Think of it like a game where you have a set amount of energy bars that recharges every day, and with a proper amount of sleep, which is why I said sleep is very important. With a proper amount of sleep, every time you wake up, your personal energy bar is filled with, let's say, 16 energy bars, which consist of the 2 8-hour periods of doing what you want and 8-hour bars of work. So you wake up, your personal energy bar is filled with 16 energy bars. And your school, health, social life, these bars start off empty every day. So let's say you utilize 3 solid hours to study it. What would happen is your school energy bar will now be filled with 3 hours worth of focused energy. But you now have 3 less energy bars in your personal energy chamber that you started the day with, filled with 16. So if you decide to allocate, let's say, an hour to exercising, your health energy bar would now have 1 hour worth of focused energy, and you would now have 1 less energy bar in your personal energy bar, which started at 16. So I think you get the gist of that. So we start off with a selected amount of energy at the start of the day. The aspects of our life that are important, which would be, if you're a student right now, would be school, social life, and health. That would be it, the 3 main things. Start off with 16 energy bars, and then throughout the day, you allocate those energy bars to the specific aspects of your life, whether that's school, whether that's health, or whether that's free time, leisure, social activities. So time isn't the only resource that we have to manage. And I know I used time as the metric to measure the energy bars, but that's a bit misleading. So let me just articulate the point a bit better. So with time not being the only resource we have to manage, the energy needs to be managed as well. And this isn't some woo-woo law of attraction type thing. This is just how humans work. This is just how humans work. It's a law of physics. So to illustrate this a bit better, because as I said, I used hours as the metric of energy. An example that would illustrate this a bit better would be comparing person A and person B. So person A has just finished getting into an argument with his girlfriend, and he decides to turn off his phone and start studying for an hour. Person B just had a relaxing afternoon, he just had some food, he probably meditated, and then he decides to turn off his phone and also study for 1 hour. They did the same hour of work at the same desk at the same time of day. Who do you think would have a more efficient and productive hour of studying? My money is on person B. Why? Because his limited mental energy isn't diverted elsewhere. They both studied for the same amount of time. However, person B has a better allocation of his energy. His limited energy wasn't diverted and transferred into trivial things like an argument. And I think all of us somewhat understand this on, I guess, a deeper level. We don't necessarily put words to it, but we do grasp that if we do something that is tiresome or something that is, I guess, something that takes energy from us, it sucks our energy from us, and then we decide to study, or then we decide to do something that requires focus, it just isn't the same. A better example that I personally experienced during my time as a CAPE student was once I study directly after taking a nap, for some reason the efficiency and the quality of my study session was way better. And I think that's because my energy wasn't diverted. I didn't do any activities before that would have taken energy from me or diverted my mental energy, dispersed my mental energy unnecessarily. So things that take your energy, anything that isn't working, resting, or recovering can be considered as wasted energy. Anything that isn't recharging or de-stressing you from your work so that you can be fresh to have a quality session is a distraction. It's very similar to having an unnecessary expense. So let's say you're trying to save up for these Yeezys again. I'm using the same Yeezy example. You're trying to save up for these Yeezys, and then somehow some unnecessary expense comes up. Someone invites you to go out, you just happen to spend some money on food. Someone asks you to borrow some money, you just give them some money because it's your friend. These things have just diverted you from your goal because you had a budget, you have a limited amount of money that you're saving up towards these Yeezys, and you've now taken some of that money away from your desired goal, from your desired outcome. It deviates you from your goal and it takes you a step back from it. These unnecessary expenses, they need to be removed from your budget in order for you to attain your desired outcome. As I said, and I will repeat, anything that isn't contributing towards your goal or recharging you to focus on your goal is a distraction. It doesn't help you towards your goal, and therefore it should be removed. Now, I know this is an extreme perspective. Oh, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, blah, blah, blah. But the reality of it is, uncommon goals require uncommon actions. And it isn't common for people to be this extreme. It isn't common for people to be this selective with their time and their energy. So you either decide to be a 1% person or you don't. You either decide to save up for those Yeezys or you don't. It's as simple as that. You decide what you want and you pay the price. So you need to remove these energy suckers. And when you remove these energy suckers, it actually increases the energy that you have towards your goal. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. So now that we understand all the time management frameworks and how important it is to manage time, we have to create a system that allows us to sustain this focused time management framework over a prolonged period of time. And why is that? Because if it cannot be sustained over a long period of time, then it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if you focus for a month or two. If your goal is to win a scholarship or come first in the Caribbean, which I assume is the goal of all of my students, because this is a top performing mentorship, a top performing private tutoring, I assume that's the goal of every student, then it has to be sustained over a long period of time. At CAPE, you have to perform at a high level for 2 years. You can't get all ones in year one and then slack off in year two. You just won't get a scholarship. All the ones that you got in year one is irrelevant because you didn't get the outcome. The desired outcome wasn't achieved. Again, back to the easy example. You save up for 1 month and then the second month, you don't spend wisely. You basically erased all of the discipline and money management that you did the month before. So let's say you work out. You work out in the gym for 6 months. You work out very hard, every day consistent, eating healthy food, sleeping right so you can recover well. You get a six-pack, you get some bigger biceps, you get some bigger glutes, calves looking huge, physique looking nuts. But then you stop going to the gym. It doesn't really matter, right? Like those 3 months doesn't really matter at the end of the day because it's no longer your physique. You weren't able to sustain it over a prolonged period of time. So it doesn't really matter. You're right back to the pudgy version of yourself. The harsh reality is the real winners in life sustain these things over a prolonged period. If you want to do well in life, you have to create a system that allows you to perform at a high level in perpetuity. And that's my goal. My goal is to not only help you to do well at CAPE, but at life. These principles can be applied to all endeavors, even outside of school, whether you're an athlete, an entrepreneur, an aspiring professional. These principles are very, very helpful because I think all of us want success. Everyone wants success, whatever that may be for us. Success is different for everyone. Success is an ongoing thing. It isn't one goal. It isn't you hit the goal and you stop. Success is habits and systems that are executed every day so that you become the person that achieves success as opposed to chasing success. As humans, we need some kind of short-term reward to continue engaging in a specific activity. That's just how our brains work. We need a dopamine feedback in order to continue doing things. If you're working hard every day and you're not getting dopamine released, you'll feel like your action's not leading to anything. And naturally, your enthusiasm and your desire and your drive is going to fizzle out. Regardless of how disciplined you are, you need some kind of short-term gratification to keep you going. So, how do we give ourselves this short-term gratification so that we can create a feedback loop so that our habits are continuously executed, our actions are continuously executed to the point where it becomes a habit and it's natural? So what I did was create a fun to work ratio. As I said, time management is everything. So you'll see that this foundation of time management leaks into all aspects of everything here. So I remembered when I was doing CAPE and I had a hard time getting motivated to study, I would tell myself, bro, if you do these next 2 hours of work, you could play FIFA for like an hour. My mindset shifted from, I'm doing this work to study for an exam in the next 3 months, to, I'm doing this work so I could relax and play some FIFA later tonight. Because the idea of suffering for 2 hours today for an exam 3 months from now isn't easy. It's hard for our brain to conceptualize that. We need some form of short-term gratification to keep us going. It's way easier to tell yourself, bro, in the next 2 hours, you can play some FIFA. My brain would be like, oh yeah, some FIFA in the next 2 hours, that's quick, I'm down. 2 hours of work would be done, 1 hour of FIFA would be complete, and it's better to have 1 hour of FIFA after 2 hours of work than to have 1 hour of work followed by hours of FIFA because you're just so unmotivated to do work. You're so unmotivated because, I can't see myself studying for 2 hours. The exam is in 3 months from now. That's why people cram, because they're not able to give themselves a short-term gratification for studying now. So what happens with this fun to work ratio is working hard becomes more fun, and it also makes the fun more fun. I don't know if it's just me, but once I get my work done and I have leisure time, I actually enjoy my leisure time more. So if I simply just have leisure time without putting in the work first, there's always like this nagging voice in my head that doesn't really allow me to be fully present and enjoy the fun time, you know? So I started viewing work as more of an enabler for more fun as opposed to an hindrance. I saw it as a platform to have more fun. So the 2 hours of work felt like a gateway to 1 hour of fun. And that 1 hour of fun would just be way better because it's like, bro, you earn this. You earn this hour of FIFA. You earn this hour out having fun with friends. You earn this hour of sweating with your boys. So I would say creating the fun to work ratio is great because it makes working hard fun and it also makes the fun more fun. So it's like a win-win. You're working more and you're having more fun, you know? So now let's go to some practical tips. So I gave you all of these time management frameworks. We spoke about the work to fun ratio. We spoke about creating a feedback loop. We spoke about having the 888 framework in your life. Let's go to some practical tips because what gets measured gets managed. And if we want to manage our time, ding, 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 we have to measure our time. So I have all the practical tips here. So the first one is to get a timer. What I did during CAPE is that I would use the stopwatch